Dear children, good afternoon. Welcome to the live YouTube class of Standard 9. Today's session, you are going to view Unit 1 Supplementary, The Envious, Neighbour, a Japanese folk tale. So last class we have discussed Unit 1 Prose and Poem. So Unit 1 Prose, the learning game, and the poem is Stopping by Roots on a Snowy Evening. Now in this class we are going to discuss supplementary part, The Envious Neighbor, a Japanese folk tale. Now what is the meaning of envious? What is the meaning of envious? So envious means jealous. So the jealous neighbor. The envious neighbor means the jealous neighbor. This Japanese folk tale is about the two neighbors. Two neighbors irukanga. So how their characters change their life. Avanga character vandu eppadi vandu life la change ஆகுது. So our character is very important, no? So we have to be kind towards others. So ellarkittiyume vandu nam eppadi behave pannom, we have to be very kind. We have to follow some moral ethics. So neighbors kitta vandu jealous irukradhu, unkind irukradhu, kind illama irukradhu, so respect illama irukradhu. So indha maadhiri vishayangalla enna aguna, it affects ourselves, it affects our character. Okay children? Yes. Now shall we enter into the lesson? So this lesson is about the jealous old couple. Now the characters in this lesson are good old couple and wicked couple. So wicked couple means greedy couple. Okay. So the characters are only the characters, good old couple and the wicked couple. So the jealous old couple ruined they had because what they had because of their greed. So jealous old couple, what they did is they ruined themselves, destroying themselves because they are very greedy. Here the dog shows its loyalty to the good old couple consistently. So the dog is a character. So dog is also a character here. So what the dog is doing is it's showing the loyalty towards the old couple consistently, means continuously. It helps them because of their true and kind nature. So why it is helping? Why the dog is helping the greedy good couple? Because of their kind and loyal nature. Because of their kind and loyal nature. While the greedy neighbors only wished for treasure, for what they wished? They wished only for treasure and riches. So they only wished for treasure and riches. Nothing more. They even killed the dog in anger and later burned the water. And finally, collecting its incense, they went to the king, but it did not revive them. So what they are doing is, due to their treasure, they kill the dog. So idinala avanga enna pandranga, the dog kuda konundranga. So the good old couple characters pathina, they are very kind and loyal nature, and the wicked couple means they are only wishing for the treasure and the riches. Okay. Now we'll enter into the lesson. In the old days, there lived an honest man with his wife. So old days means what? Romba pazhaya kaalathula. There lived an honest man with his wife. So they are the old couple. So he lived with his wife, who had a pet dog which they used to feed with fish and tidbits from their own kitchen. So they are having a dog. They are having a pet dog. So the good old couple having a pet dog. They they cared the dog very much. So dog வந்து ரொம்ப நல்லா பார்த்துட்டாங்க and they used to give a tidbit from the kitchen. What is the meaning of tidbit? So the meaning of tidbit is a piece of tasty food. So they are very affectionate with the dog, very affectionate with the dog. So they used to have a pet dog and they used to give some food and tidbits from the kitchen. One day as the old folks went out to a work in their garden. So what they are doing, the good old couple are moving out with the dog in the garden. The dog went with them and began playing about. So dog, what the dog usually does? Plays in the garden. So garden the dog வந்து விளையாடிட்டு. All of a sudden the dog stopped short and began to bark. Wow, 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 wagging his tail violently. So wagging means what? Moving rapidly. So the dog stopped there and it begins to bark. And what it is doing? It is wagging its tail violently, very harsh. It is moving. Its tail. Okay. Now the old people thought that there must be something nice to eat under the ground. So they brought a spade and began digging. So what they are doing? The old couple. So they thought that the reason why the dog has barked there means they thought that there must be some things to eat. அங்க ஏதாவது சாப்பிடுற பொருள் தான் இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு நினைச்சாங்க. But then what they are doing? They are bringing. They brought a spade. Spade means what? மண் வெட்டி சொல்லுவாங்க. Spade. So they brought the spade and began to digging. Digging means what? தோண்ட ஆரம்பிச்சாங்க. The place was full of gold pieces and silver and all sorts of precious things. So when after they dig, what they found under the sandals, they found the gold, silver and lot of precious things. Okay, so the dog went with the old couple in the garden. So garden they went for some work. So the dog போகுது அங்க போயிட்டு அவங்க கூட விளையாடிட்டு இருக்கு. And after that the dog what the dog is doing is stopped in a place and started to bark violently. It is wagging its tail. So wagging means what? It is moving its tail very harshly. So then the old couple thought is there must be something nice to eat. The dip பண்ணா வந்து ஏதாவது ஒரு ஃபுட் இருக்கும், ஏதாவது இருக்கும் நினைச்சிட்டா they thought அந்த மைண்ட் செட்ல தான் அவங்க வந்து dip பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சாங்க. But what they found is they found the gold, silver and precious things. So this is a question based answer. What they found under the earth means gold, silver and some precious things. Okay. Which had been buried there. So they gathered the treasure and after giving alms to the poor bought themselves rice fields and corn fields and became wealthy people. So with that treasures, with these treasures, gold, silver, precious things, no, what they are doing is they are giving some things to the poor people. So alms means what? Non-potential. They are giving some things to the poor people and the remaining things. With the remaining things they bought some rice fields and with the remaining things they bought some rice fields and corn fields and they become the wealthy people. Okay, because they are the very good old couple. What they are doing, even though they got a treasure, the treasure collection, what they are doing is they are giving some things to the poor people. So இல்லாதவங்களுக்கு கொடுத்துட்டு and the remaining part only they do. Now in the neighboring house there dwelt a covetous and stingy old couple. So now what is the meaning of covetous? Having showing a great desire. They are the wicked couple, greedy old couple. So what they are doing is they are next to the old couple. So பக்கத்து வீட்ல தான் இருக்காங்க. They are the neighbors of good old couple. So what they are doing is when they heard that they got these treasures, இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய gold, silver, precious thingsலாம் கிடைச்சோனே what they are doing is they are borrowing the dog and having taken him home. So இந்த dog தான find out பண்ணி கொடுக்குது. Dog தான இந்த precious thingsலாம் வந்து the good old couple கொடுத்து. So what they are doing is the wicked couple borrowing the dog from the good old couple. Now what the greedy couple did is they prepared a great feast. So அந்த டாகுக்கு வந்து ஒரு பெரிய விருந்தே வெச்சாங்க. If you please, Mr. Dog, we should be much obliged to you if you would show us a place with plenty of money in it. So what they are doing, நீ வந்து what the greedy couple say என்ன சொல்றாங்க அப்படினா நீங்க எங்க அந்த place ஒரு treasure இருக்க place நீ காமிச்சனா will also become rich, நாங்களும் நல்ல பெரிய பணக்காரங்களா ஆயிடுவோம்னு சொல்றாங்க. The dog, however, who up to that time had received nothing but cuffs and kicks. So now the dog had received only the cuffs and the kicks. So cuffs means what? Money cut, the neck la kattvaanga illaya. So only these things the dog got from his host, could not eat any of the dainties which they set before him. So the dog vandu endha oru tasty food ine saapidala. So the dog is very silent there, which they set before him. So the old people began to get cross and putting a rope around the dog's neck, let him out into the garden. Now what they are doing, the greedy couple is taking the dog to the garden. So garden கூட்டி போயிட்டு நெக்ல அந்த rope வந்து கட்டிட்டு they are dragging him. But it was all in vain. Vain means what? Unsuccessful. But all got vain. Ellame unsuccessful. What the old couple is doing, they are borrowing the dog from the neighbor house and they are giving a great feast to the dog and asking the dog to show the place where the gold, the silver, precious things will be. But what the dog is doing is it is not taking any tasty food. The tasty food எதையுமே சாப்பிடாம it is simply sitting there. So what the greedy couple doing is they are tying a rope in the neck. So the dog oda neck la வந்து rope கட்டிட்டு and they are taking the dog to the ground. But now only the story, all the things அவங்க effort போட்டது எல்லாமே waste ஆயிடுச்சு. ஏன் அப்படி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா he let them lead him where they might not a sound of the dog utter. He had no bow for them at last. However, the dog stopped at a certain spot. They were searching fully search பண்றாங்க, garden சுத்தி search பண்றாங்க and nothing anywhere எந்த பிளேஸ்லயுமே அந்த dog என்ன பண்ணல, stop பண்ணல. It is not making any noise. So at last in a certain place the dog stopped and began to sniff. So thinking that this must be surely the lucky place. Sniff means what? இப்படி பண்றாங்க இல்லையா? So the dog is sniffing there. So it stopped at certain place and started to sniff. So thinking that this must be surely the lucky place, they dug. So what the greedy couple thought? Oh, இந்த place la தான் இருக்கும் போல இருக்கு, இங்க தான் இருக்கும் இந்த gold, silver எல்லாம் இருக்கும் அப்படி நினைச்சிட்டு they started to dig and found nothing but a quantity of dirt and nasty offal. So at last what they got? Dirt, dirty things and nasty offal. Nasty offal means what? மோசமான கழிவுகள் தான் கிடைச்சது. Over which they had to hold their noses. So at last what they have to do? They should hold their noses like this. Furious at being disappointed. Furious means what? Excited, but at last what they got? Disappointed. The wicked old couple seized the dog and killed him. So at last what the greedy people did? They seized the dog. So hold பண்ணிட்டு அந்த dog kill பண்ணிட்டாங்க. So how harsh they were. ஒரு human, அதாவது ஒரு living thingக்கு எந்த ஒரு இதுமே கொடுக்காம அவங்கள என்ன பண்ணுச்சு, அந்த dog வந்து கொன்னுட்டாங்க, the greedy couple. So they are the good old couple because they are kind, very loyal in nature. But what the wicked old couple did? So they are borrowing the dog and if at that time if they didn't get gold, silver எதுமே கிடைக்காததால with that angry what they are doing, they are killing the dog. When the good old man saw that the dog whom he had lent did not come home. So and after that what the good old man did, he went to the greedy man's house. And the old couple house they are asking about the dog. He went next door to ask what had become of him, and the wicked old man answered that he had killed the dog and buried him at the root of a pine tree. So what he is answering, if they went and asked for the dog, but the greedy couple answered that they had buried the dog. So now the dog they had killed the dog and buried the dog, and they root under the pine tree. Pine tree root level bury பண்ணிட்டாங்கன்னு சொல்றாங்க. Okay. So the good old fellow with a heavy heart went to the spot, and having set out a tray with delicate foot, he burnt incense and adorned the grave with flowers as he shed tears over his lost pet. By hearing this, the old man got very shocked. So he cried a lot, and what he did is he went to the buried place. So on the root of the pine tree, and the pine tree of the root padiyila da bury panni vechirukanga. So he went there, and what he did is the plate, the tray delicate food nariya tasty food, then incense stick, then adorable flowers la vechittu he adha naayik save indiyadhu kadamela senjittu, and he cried there itself. Okay. That night, when the good old man was fast asleep in bed, the dog appeared to him. So that night itself, he is very heavy heart. He was very nama aasiya valatha dog iliya, so avaru aasiya valatha dog, but it died. And what the greedy couple is saying, so they are saying openly, so that they had killed the dog and buried it under the root of the pine tree. Anga bury pannitonu solranga. So by hearing this, he is very heavy hearted and cried. And the night அந்த bury பண்ண அந்த night அவன் தூங்கும்போது அவரோட கனவுல the dog appeared to him, and after thanking him for all his kindness, so because இவர் ரொம்ப kind இல்லையா, so the good old couple was very kind, they are very loyal. அவங்க எப்படி அந்த டாக் பார்த்துட்டாங்க, ரொம்ப affectionatedா பார்த்துட்டாங்க இல்லையா. So the dog is appeared in his dream. So our dream la vandhu we just saying thanking, it is thanking him. Said, cause the pine tree under which I am buried to be cut down and made into a mortar, and use it thinking of it as if it were myself. So the dog appeared in his dream, and what it is saying is, so go and cut the pine tree. So on the pine tree adukku keela dhaan enna bury panninga, and the pine tree cut pannita and make into a mortar made பண்ணிட்டு and use it, அதை யூஸ் பண்ணுங்க, நானா நினைச்சு அதை யூஸ் பண்ணுங்கன்னு சொல்றாங்க. What is the meaning of mortar is a hard strong bound in which substances are crushed to powder. So it is a substance. அந்த mortarன்றது நம்ம ஒரு கலவையா செஞ்சிட்டு அது நம்ம என்ன பண்றோம், பவுடரா crush பண்றது பேர் தான் mortar. Okay. Now the old man did as the dog had told him to do and made a mortar out of the wood. So now what the old man is doing is he is doing the same thing what the dog is said in his dream. Our dream enna sollucha the dog, so you have to cut down the pine tree and make, and the pieces ellathey enna pannunga, mortar make பண்ணிட்டு அத நானா நினைச்சு அதை யூஸ் பண்ணுங்கன்னு சொல்லிருக்காங்க. So the old couple is doing what the dog said, அத பண்றாங்க. So they are the old man did as the dog told him to do and made a mortar out of the wood of the pine tree. And the wood இல்லையா, so அந்த wood வச்சு அவர் என்ன பண்றாரு, mortar ஃபைன் பண்ணாரு. But when he ground his rice in it, each grain of rice turned into some rich treasure. So அந்த mortar மேல அவர் அந்த rice fields வைக்கிறாரு, crops fields வாங்குறாரு இல்லையா, so அதெல்லாம் வச்ச உடனே those fields and the rices எல்லாம் turned into some treasure, ஒரு புதையல் மாதிரி ஆயிடுச்சு, rich treasure. When the wicked old couple saw this, they came to borrow the mortar. So what they are doing by hearing this, so what the dog is doing, it is எப்பவுமே அந்த டாக் because they are very good in nature, they are very kind, they are very loyal, they are very true to the dog. So the dog is doing the saying good things. So from this what you have learned. So if you do good, all the good things will come to you. If you do bad, what will happen? All the bad things will come to you. Okay. So now the dog appeared in the old man's dream, and what it is saying? So you have to cut down the pine tree and make a mortar, thinking of and use the mortar thinking of myself. என்ன நினைச்சிட்டு நீங்க அந்த mortar வந்து யூஸ் பண்ணனும்னு சொல்றாங்க. The same thing the old couple are doing. So what they are doing? They are cutting down the pine tree with the wood of the pine tree. They are making a mortar, and with the mortar they are planting அந்த fields வந்து plant பண்றாங்க. So ground this rice அந்த mortarல வந்து rice வந்து ground பண்ணோனே each grain of rice ஒவ்வொரு ரைஸும் என்னவா மாறுது? It is changed into a treasure. ஒரு ட்ரெஷரா மாறிடுச்சு. By learning this, so இந்த விஷயமா அந்த wicked old couple க்கு தெரிஞ்சோனே what they are doing? So they first they have borrowed the dog and killed the dog. Now the second time they are borrowing the mortar from them. So அந்த mortar அவங்க கிட்ட இருந்து borrow பண்றாங்க. But no sooner did they try to use it, all the rice turned into filth. What does the mean of filth? Dust up. So it becomes a filth. So after borrowing the mortar from them, so as soon as they are using it, all the mortar are changed into filth. The filth na ashes are marriage, dust are marriage. So in a fit of rage, rage means angry. So in a fit of rage means angry. In an extreme angry. They broke the mortar and burnt it. What they are doing in extreme angry, or they have borrowed from the old couple, no, the mortar. So they have broke it and burnt it. But the good old man, little suspecting that this precious mortar had been broken and burnt, wondered why his neighbors did not bring it back to him. So this one, அதாவது இவர் பண்ண விஷயம் அவருக்கு தெரியாது இல்லையா? The old man doesn't know that he had burned the mortar and burn பண்ணிட்டாரு தெரியாம what he did, இவர் ஏன் இன்னும் எடுத்துட்டு வரலன்ற ஒரு டவுட்டோடவே இருக்காரு அந்த old man. One night the dog appeared to him. See, இது எல்லாமே வந்து even though the mortar வந்து யூஸ் பண்ணும்போது அது எல்லாமே rich treasure-ஆ இருக்கு அப்படி தெரிஞ்சும் what he is doing when his neighbor asked, he gave him இல்லையா? So அது எல்லாமே rich treasure-ஆ இருக்கு தெரிஞ்சும் what he is doing? He is giving him. When he asked, he gave. So that is the kind nature. That is the true nature. நம்மளோட character வந்து எவ்வளவு குட்டா இருக்குன்றது இது. Now one night the dog appeared to him again in his dream and told him what had happened, adding that if he would take the ashes of the burnt mortar and sprinkle them on withered trees. Withered means what? Withered means became dry trees. Copy down, children. So now what happened? First thing, what the good old couple did, they borrowed the dog. So after the greedy couple borrowed the dog from the good old couple, they had buried, because அவங்க நினைச்சது எதுவுமே நடக்கலன்னு what they did, they had buried that dog. And after that the dog appeared in an old man's dream, and what the dog said, you have to cut the pine tree, cut பண்ணிட்டு and make a mortar out of the pine tree and use it. அதை யூஸ் பண்ணுங்க நான் நினைச்சேன்னு சொன்னோனே the man old couple did. அந்த old man வந்து the dog என்ன சொல்லுச்சோ அதை அப்படியே பண்ணாரு. So அதை பண்ண உடனே all the rices have turned into, each grain of rice have turned into a rich treasure. And by knowing this, the greedy couple, what they did, what they are doing, they are borrowing the mortar. So first dog borrow பண்ணாங்க, second time they are borrowing a mortar from them, and what they are doing, they are using it. As soon வாங்கின become the filth. The filth means what? Ashes. It become the ashes. Now, with that angry, extreme angry, now what they are doing? They are breaking the mortar and burning it up. Now again, the next day, the dog appeared in a dream, in an old man dream, and what it said is, if you would take the ashes of the burnt mortar and sprinkle them on withered trees, the trees would revive and suddenly put out flowers. Now what the dog is saying, dog வந்து again அந்த dreamல வந்து அந்த old man dreamல வந்துட்டு burnt ஆன அந்த ashes, அந்த mortarோட ashes வந்து எடுத்துட்டு வந்து you have to sprinkle on withered trees. Withered means dry leaves. So the mortar வந்து burn பண்ணி ashes இருந்ததுல you have to bring those ashes and sprinkle னா என்னது ஸ்ப்ரே பண்ணாங்க, அதுல வந்து தூவி விடு, அந்த mortarல withered trees நால தூவி விடு. The trees would revive and suddenly put out flowers. So காஞ்சி போன trees எல்லாம் என்ன ஆகும்? Flowers நல்லா பெரிய பெரிய flowers ஆயிடும். After saying this, the dream vanished, and the old man, who heard for the first time of the loss of his mortar, ran out weeping to the neighbor's house and begged them at any rate to give him back the ashes of his treasure. Now the old man doesn't know that he burnt his mortar. அவரோட mortar வந்து burn பண்ணிட்டான்றது அந்த old manக்கு தெரியாது. After only the dog said, the dog வந்து அவரோட dreamல சொன்னதுக்கு அப்புறம் தான் he knows. So by hearing that news, he cried and he felt he worried very much, and he went to the neighbor's house, and the greedy man is asking the ashes of the mortar. Okay. Having obtained it, he returned home and made a trial of their virtues upon a withered cherry tree, which upon being touched by the ashes immediately began to sprout and blossom. So he is doing the same, he is doing the thing what the dog has said in his dream. Our dog வந்து என்ன சொல்லுது dreamல, you have to bring the ashes of the mortar and you have to sprinkle it on withered trees, the dry trees. The dry trees என்னவா மாறும்? Flowers, it move into flowers மாறிடும் சொல்றாங்க. The same thing போயிட்டு neighbor கிட்ட போயிட்டு அந்த ashes வாங்கிட்டு வந்துட்டு is withered cherry tree. So காஞ்சி போன அந்த cherry tree மேல is sprinkling தூவி விடுறாரு. So immediately it began to sprout, பூத்துருச்சுன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க, it began to sprout and blossom. When he saw this wonderful effect, he put the ashes into a basket and went about the country, announcing himself as an old man who had the power of bringing dead trees to life again. So while checking or trial Madhurara, it is successful, and what the old man is doing, he is putting all the ashes into his basket and he is moving around the village, and he is saying, he is announcing himself that he is the old man and he had the power to who had the power of bringing dead trees to life again. So செத்து போன அதாவது காஞ்சி போன அந்த ட்ரையான ட்ரீஸ் கூட என்னால என்ன பண்ண முடியும், மறுபடியும் நல்ல ஒரு ஸ்ப்ரவுட் அண்ட் blossom flowers வர மாதிரி அந்த ட்ரீயை மாற்ற முடியும்னு சொல்றாரு. ஓகே. So here dogs were domesticated from wolves 15,000 years ago. So dogs வந்து domesticated எப்ப மாத்துறாங்க அப்படின்னா 15,000 years ago. New evidence suggests that dogs were first domesticated. So dog வந்து எங்க வந்து first domesticated animal வச்சிருந்தாங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா in East Asia, possibly China. Over time, hundreds of breeds with a great degree of variation have come into being. So first வந்து dog ஒரே ஒரு இது வந்து then later on வந்து நிறைய breeds வந்து different breeds இல்லையா. So we are saying நிறைய dog name வச்சு கூப்பிடுறோம்ல, different இருக்கு இல்லையா dogs. So நிறைய breeds வர ஆரம்பிச்சு and they all are using. And dogs in warfare have a long and checkered history. So warல யூஸ் பண்ற அந்த டாகுக்கு வந்து நிறைய ஹிஸ்டரிஸ் இருக்கு. From war dogs trained in combat to their use as scouts, sentries and trackers. So dogs வந்து எதுக்கெல்லாம் யூஸ் பண்றாங்கன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஸ்கவுட்ஸ்க்கு, வாட்ச்மேனுக்கு, then சண்டை போடுறதுக்கு. Their uses have been varied and some continue to exist in modern military usage and now also military purpose கூட and you know police use பண்ணுவாங்க dogs so நிறைய விஷயத்துக்கு வந்து நம்ம என்ன பண்றோம் dogs யூஸ் பண்றோம் so dogs are domesticated animal and we have to நம்ம எங்கேயாவது ரோட்ல பார்த்தா கூட நம்ம என்ன பண்றோம் dog மேல கல்லு தூக்கி அடிக்கிறோம் so children you should not do that thing so dogs are pet animal they are also living thing we have to show love towards the dog so here the greedy couple what they did they have killed the dog and buried it in that place and what they are again what they are doing so because of their cruel nature the kindness illama the loyalty illama the cruel nature alla what they are என்ன ஆகுது ஒரு டைம் அவங்க ஒன்னொன்னு விஷயமும் பண்ணும்போது இட் பிகம்ஸ் ஃபெயிலியர் ஃபார் தட் ஸோ அவங்களுக்கு வந்து எந்த ஒரு குட்னஸும் நடக்கல பட் here the good old couple what they are doing they are borrowing the dog and the neighbors are asked the dog they are borrowing when the neighbors are asked the mortar கேக்கும்போது அவங்க என்ன பண்றாங்க they are borrowing but what the greedy couple did they have burned the mortar and break it and burnt it break பண்ணி உடைச்சு அது வந்து எரிச்சிட்டாங்க and what the old couple did again the dog appeared in his dream so ஒரு கெட்டது நடக்கும்போது the dog is doing something good for the old couple so that is what I'm saying so we have to be very good in nature so character வந்து நமக்கு குட்டா இருந்தாதான் all the good things will happen so from this lesson இத பாக்கும்போது உங்களுக்கு என்னென்னலாம் moral தோணுது if you covered all you will lose all and if you are jealous so it destroys you so jealous இருந்தா நம்ம என்ன பண்ணுவோம் destroys and kindness cannot be bought with riches kindness வந்து நம்ம கிட்ட இருந்து நேச்சரா வரும் it cannot be bought with the riches and you should always be kind to others very true to others loyal to others so don't harsh words நம்ம என்ன பண்ண கூடாது பேசக்கூடாது so true நம்ம கைண்டா நடந்துக்கிட்டோம் நம்ம ஹானஸ்டா நடந்துக்கிட்டோம் அப்படின்னா all the good things will come to pass okay now what the old man did is he bought the ashes from the greedy couple ashes வந்து அவங்க கிட்ட இருந்து வாங்கிட்டு he sprinkled on the cherry tree ஒரு withered ஒரு காஞ்சி போன cherry tree மேல sprinkle பண்ண உடனே the cherry tree sprouts and blossoms by இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு விஷயம் தெரிஞ்ச உடனே what the old man did is he put all the ashes அந்த ashes எல்லாத்தையும் அவரோட basketல போட்டுட்டு he is moving அந்த இதுல வந்து பிளேஸ்ல வந்து போயிட்டு what he is saying that he had the power of bringing the dead trees to life again so மறுபடியும் என்னால வந்து உயிர் வர வைக்க முடியும் dead trees வந்து என்னால உயிர் வர வைக்க முடியும்னு சொல்றாரு now by hearing this a certain prince அந்த இடத்துல இருக்க ஒரு prince வந்து என்ன பண்றாரு it is a mighty strange thing sent for the old fellow who showed his power by causing all the withered plum and cherry trees to shoot out and put flowers so by hearing this one prince அந்த இடத்துல இருக்க அந்த villageல இருக்க ஒரு prince என்ன பண்றாருன்னா so you have to bring him யார் அந்த old man எப்படி அவருக்கு அந்த பவர் இருக்கு எப்படி வந்து அந்த withered காஞ்சி போன ட்ரீஸ் வந்து எப்படி அவர் வந்து லைஃப் கொடுக்குறாரு அப்படின்றத நான் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும் ஐ வாண்ட் டு நோ ஸோ எப்படி வந்து அந்த ப்ளம் ட்ரீஸ் செரி ட்ரீஸ்லாம் இருக்கு இல்லையா ஸோ ஹவு த டெட் ட்ரீஸ் வந்து எப்படி வந்து ஒரு லைஃப் வருதுன்றதை நான் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும்னு சொல்லிட்டு வாட் த பிரின்ஸ் இஸ் சேயிங் இஸ் சென்டிங் சம் பீப்பிள் அவர்கிட்ட இருக்க 2 பர்சன் அனுப்பிச்சு அந்த ஓல்டு மேனை கூட்டிட்டு வாங்கன்னு சொல்றாரு so the prince gave him a rich reward of pieces of now the prince is asking so what the prince is asking is எப்படி வந்து அந்த இதெல்லாம் பார்த்தாரு இல்லையா ஸோ செரி ட்ரீ ப்ளம் ட்ரீலாம் வந்து டெட்டான செரி ட்ரீ ப்ளம் ட்ரீஸ்லாம் வந்து மறுபடியும் வந்து என்னாச்சு it came to the life again so by seeing this what the prince is doing is he gave him a rich reward of silk rich reward of pieces of silk and cloth and other presents and sent him home rejoicing means very happily so the old man got all the rich treasures rich things rich cloth silk cloth எல்லாம் வாங்கிட்டு he is moving to his house very happily as soon as the neighbors what again the neighbors greedy couple are doing first they borrowed the dog and the mortar now they know so இது வந்து கேட்டுட்டாங்க அந்த greedy couple வந்து கேட்டுட்டாங்க now what they are doing is they collected all the ashes and again the old couple are giving to them so அவங்க கேட்டோடனே அவங்க என்ன பண்றாங்க அந்த ashes வந்து கொடுக்குறாங்க so they are borrowing the ashes from them and having put them in a basket the wicked old man went out into a castle town so அந்த கோட்டைக்குள்ள So castle means what? And the prince oda கோட்டைக்குள்ள he is moving. So he is saying the same thing what the old couple did. அவங்க என்ன பண்ணாங்களோ he is also following the same thing. So he is putting all the ashes into the basket and moving into the old castle. அந்த கோட்டைக்குள்ள போறார். And gave out that he was the old man who had the power of reviving dead trees. And what he is saying, so the same dialogue what the old couple followed, he is also saying, the greedy man saying he is having the power of bringing the dead trees to the life again. He had not to wait long before he was called into prince's palace and ordered to exhibit his power. So what the prince is doing by hearing this thing, so village kulla edu nadandala prince ku theriyum ya, the same thing he is also saying. By hearing this, immediately the prince is calling him to the town, avaroda place kulla prince palace kulla poitu and ask him to exhibit his power. But when he climbed up into a withered tree and began to scatter the ashes, not a bud of flower appeared. So what he is doing? The old greedy couple and the old man வந்து என்ன பண்றாரு அவரு? The ashes வந்து காஞ்சி போன trees மேல sprinkle பண்றாரு. But nothing happened. ஒரு tree ஒரு flower கூட என்ன ஆகல, பூக்கல. But the ashes all flew into prince's eyes and mouth. So அந்த ashesல இந்த மாதிரி ஸ்ப்ரே பண்ண உடனே என்ன ஆகுது, அந்த ashesல வந்து princess ஓட eyesலயும் mouth குள்ளயும் போயிடும், blinding and choking him. So when the prince's retainers saw this, they seized the old man and beat him almost to death. So by hearing this, what the old man and the princess என்ன பண்றாங்கன்னா, அந்த prince வந்து என்ன பண்றாங்கன்னா, அந்த old man வந்து அடிச்சு ரொம்ப வந்து டெத், அதாவது சாகுற அளவுக்கு அவரை அடிக்கிறாங்க. So that he crawled off home in a very sorry plight. So அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு அவள நிலையில அவர் என்ன பண்ணாரு, அவளுக்கே வந்து அவரோட வீட்டுக்கு போயிட்டாரு. When he and his wife found out what a trap they had fallen into, they scolded themselves. So at last what the old man and the greedy man வந்து அடி வாங்கிட்டு ரொம்ப வந்து டெத் அளவுக்கு சாகுற நிலைமைக்கு போயிட்டு அடி வாங்கிட்டு அவர் என்ன பண்றாரு, at last what he did, he went to his wife and they are scolding themselves. எதனால இப்படிலாம் ஆச்சு அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு they are thinking from the first. The good old man and woman, as soon as they heard of their neighbor's distress, now also இப்போ கூட the good old couple, by hearing this, the old greedy couple வந்து இந்த மாதிரி அடிச்சு ரொம்ப வந்து கஷ்டப்பட்டாங்கன்னு தெரிஞ்சவங்க, they went to அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு distress, அதாவது இப்படி ஆயிட்டாங்களே அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு they are worrying for them. And after reproving them for their greed and cruelty, gave them a share of their own riches, which by repeated strokes of luck had now increased to a goodly sum. So இதெல்லாம் வந்து கிடைச்ச உடனே by hearing this, they know what they did. The neighbors வந்து என்ன பண்ணாங்கன்னு தெரிஞ்சோம். What the couple is doing, they are sharing the treasures. இந்த மாதிரி லக்ல இந்த மாதிரி கிடைச்ச இந்த treasures எல்லாமே அவங்க என்ன பண்றாங்க, நெக்ஸ்ட் இதுல ஷேர் பண்றாங்க, neighbors கூட ஷேர் பண்றாங்க. So the wicked old couple mended their ways and led good and virtuous lives ever after. So இத வந்து அவங்க என்ன பண்ணிக்கிறாங்க, they are correcting themselves by hearing this. இதெல்லாம் செஞ்சாங்க இல்லையா, the good old couple வந்து இதெல்லாம் செஞ்சோமே, they are correcting themselves and what they did, அவங்க வந்து ஒரு virtuous life, அதாவது righteous pathக்குள்ள போறாங்க. So the old couple, அதாவது you have to differentiate good old couple and greedy couple. So first they are அவங்க என்ன பண்றாங்க, they are having one pet dog. So அவங்க கிட்ட ஒரு pet dog இருக்கு. What they are doing, they are borrowing the pet. அந்த pet dog என்ன பண்ணுதுன்னா, they are very kind, affectionate towards the pet dog. Pet dog வந்து ரொம்ப ஆசையா வளர்க்கறாங்க. So அந்த dog வந்து என்ன பண்ணுது, when it is moved into the garden, it is finding some rich treasures, gold, silver, இதெல்லாம் வந்து அந்த old couple கொடுக்குது. But with that thing, what they are doing, they are giving some things to the poor people. அதெல்லாம் கொடுத்துட்டு தான் remaining thing என்ன பண்றாங்க, rice fields, corn fields எல்லாம் வச்சிட்டு they are becoming rich. By knowing this, what the greedy couple is doing in the time, the neighbors என்ன பண்றாங்க, so they are sharing a dog, அந்த borrow பண்றாங்க, அந்த dog borrow பண்ணிட்டு the same thing what they have did, அந்த garden குள்ள கொண்டு போறாங்க. But the dog what it gave, அந்த dog வந்து அவங்களுக்கு என்ன கொடுத்துச்சு, only the dirty things, the duck பண்ணி பார்க்கும்போது only the dirty things they got. So by hearing this, he carried in a heavy heart. அது வந்து ரொம்ப தாங்க முடியாம ரொம்ப அழுது what he is doing, he is keeping a food, delicate food, incense-லாம் வச்சிட்டு flowers-லாம் வச்சிட்டு அந்த டாகோட கிரேவ் கிட்ட போயிட்டு அழுறாரு. So he felt sad very much. And when he went to sleep, the dog appeared in his dream. அவரோட ட்ரீம்ல வந்துட்டு அந்த டாக் என்ன சொல்லுது, you have to cut the pine tree. So என்ன பரி பண்ண இடத்துல pine tree இல்லையா, you have to cut the pine tree and make the wood. அந்த wood வந்து என்ன பண்ணுங்க, mortar பண்ணுங்க அப்படினு சொல்லிட்டு அந்த mortar வந்து யூஸ் பண்ணுங்கன்னு சொல்றாங்க. So the same thing the old man did. So அவர் என்ன பண்ணாருன்னா pine tree ஓட wood கட் பண்ணி mortar யூஸ் பண்ணி அதுல வந்து rice grains எல்லாம் வச்சாரு. So the rice, each grain of rice, ஒவ்வொரு grain of rice என்னவா ஆச்சு, it brought him a rich treasure, very rich treasure கொண்டு. So by this he became a wealthy person. இதனால அவர் என்னவானாரு, ஒரு rich person ஆயிட்டார். And after that, by hearing this, the same thing, the neighbor, what the neighbor did, he borrowed a mortar from him, and what he did, the same thing he did. But what happened, the mortar and இது எல்லாமே வந்து என்னவாயிடுச்சு, ashes ஆயிடுச்சு. So எல்லாமே வந்து சாம்பல் ஆயிடுச்சு. So he got very angry and he break the mortar and burned it. So இவர் என்ன பண்றாரு, so இன்னும் ஏன் நம்ம கிட்ட அந்த mortar கொடுக்கலன்னு சொல்லிட்டு யோசிச்சுட்டே இருக்காரு. And again the dog appeared in his dream and said that he burned the mortar. So what you have to do is you have to collect the ashes of the mortar from him and you have to sprinkle on withered trees. So by hearing this, he got worried very much. ஏன் இதெல்லாம் பண்றாருன்னு சொல்லிட்டு, and again what he did is he went to the neighbor's house and asked the ashes of the mortar. And the ashes கொடுங்கன்னு கேட்டு வாங்கிட்டு வராரு. So what he did, he went, ஒரு வாட்டி செக் பண்றாரு. அந்த ashes வச்சு என்ன பண்றாரு, ஒரு காஞ்சி போன withered tree-ல போயிட்டு sprinkle, அதாவது ஸ்ப்ரே பண்ணி பார்க்கறாரு. So all the dead trees became to be life again. So திரும்ப உயிர் வந்துச்சு அந்த ட்ரீக்கு. So அந்த ட்ரீக்கு லைஃப் வந்த உடனே by hearing this, இந்த மாதிரி அந்த வில்லேஜ்ல எல்லாருக்கும் தெரிஞ்ச உடனே what the prince do is he is giving some rich treasures to the good old couple. So இத கேட்ட உடனே what the neighbors are doing, again they are sharing the ashes from them and they are moving in the villages. So castle போறாங்க, அந்த prince the castle போயிட்டு they are doing the same thing. But what the ashes, all the ashes வந்து ஒரு flower கூட ஒரு ட்ரீல வந்து வரல. So ஆனா அந்த ashesல யார் பிரின்சஸோட கண்ணுலயும் மவுத்குள்ளேயே தான் போனோனே, so they got angry, ரொம்ப கோவப்பட்டுட்டு what they are doing, they are beating him almost to death. So சாகுற நிலைமைக்கு வந்து அடிச்சிருக்காங்க. So then later what happened is he went to his wife and asked him what happened, நமக்கு என்ன ஆச்சு, ஏன் இப்படிலாம் நடக்குதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு. So they are scolding themselves, அவங்களே திட்டிக்கிறாங்க. So at last the old couple வந்து என்ன பண்றாங்க, greedy couple-க்கு இந்த மாதிரி நடக்குதுன்னு தெரிஞ்ச உடனே the old couple went to them and they are borrowing and they are sharing the treasures what they had. அவங்க ரிச் ஆனாங்க இல்லையா, so அந்த திங்ஸ் எல்லாம் அவங்க என்ன பண்றாங்க, அப்படியும் அவங்க கிட்ட ஷேர் பண்ணிக்கிறாங்க. So they have rectified their mistake. அந்த greedy couple என்ன பண்ணாங்க, at last they have rectified all their mistakes and they also became good. So if you show good, if you show your true nature, your loyal, நீங்க வந்து மத்தவங்க கிட்ட, so how the good old couple did, they were very affectionate towards the dog. So the dog என்ன பண்ணுச்சு, all the good things, the dog வந்து even it is dead but it has given all the good things to the old couple. So you have to be very kind towards others. So யாரா வேணாலும் இருக்கலாம், maybe human being or a dog, எந்த ஒரு creature. So கடவுள் படைச்ச எல்லா creatures கிட்டயும் நாம எப்படி இருக்கணும், we have to be very affectionate, very true towards others. Is it clear? Okay. So now we have seen the glossary part. So what is the meaning of tidbit? Tidbit means a small piece of tasty food. Wagging means what? Wagging means moving on, causing to move rapidly to and fro. Covetous means showing a great desire to possess something, so belonging to someone. So அதாவது மத்தவங்க கிட்ட இருக்கிறத நம்ம என்ன பண்றோம், ஆசைப்பட்டு வாங்குறோம். Obliged means what? Make legally or morally bound to do something. Mortar means a hard strong bound in which substances are crushed to powder. Withered means become dry and shriveled. So with this the lesson got over. So far we have finished unit 1 fully. Unit 1 prose, poem and supplementary part we have finished. Okay children, the next class I will teach you unit 2.